Welcome back, Cleaning Nation. Last week we had the first part of this amazing podcast. We talked websites all the live long day. We had my good friend Susie Duncan on, who owns a cleaning company, as well as John Ayers, who owns Regenuity, which is a SEO website awesomeness company. Most of last episode on Tuesday was Susie kind of telling her perspective of how her journey with John worked and how she went from a website that wasn't making her any money to a website that is rocking her and her business's world. Today we're going to take a look from John's side, the developer side, on what you can do as an owner of a cleaning company to make sure that you get the results that you want from your website. So tune in, sit down, buckle up. We're going to have some fun. Let's go. All right. A, Susie, thanks for sharing that. We'll keep you on because I'm sure there'll be some other stuff.
Sure.
B, I'm dying to hear all this from John's side. So now you kind of know what it looks like from Susie's perspective as she walked through this. John, tell me about your first conversation with Susie, what she said, what she was looking for when she called you.
Sure. And that's great to hear, Susie. I appreciate everything you said, and I'm always happy to hear and how well everything's working. So that just makes me feel good. So yeah, I mean, the first time we talked, I guess it's fairly similar to a lot of conversations. And at the end of the day, people are looking for leads. They're looking for more clients, and they know people are searching online. So how do you get there? And they've heard about this whole SEO thing, which is very mysterious most of the time. So they want to understand how it works. How I usually approach the conversation is that I usually start with design. I mean, it's a lot of people just don't understand the true impact of having a well laid out, well communicated website. And then one, like Susie said, that actually builds your list, but it also has people relate to your business, your business's culture, and the owner's personality, and making that really come through, because this is a relationship business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to encourage that what John said, that the big takeaway I got from that was the design is more important than people think in terms of, mine looks like it's from the 90s, but who cares? That's a huge deal. If people come to your website and it's confusing and there's a lot of links that go nowhere, there's 17 levels and there's a lot of text and it's hard to go through, they're going to go right to the next one, not to mention Google, right? So it's kind of like, that's why you get a professional like John that knows how to appease you got to make sure that it's laid out good for Google and everything makes sense and it's clean and clear. And the good thing is most of the time, if you do that right for Google, people get it. But I couldn't agree more with design. If you've got a bunch of text and a bunch of, let me tell you about me, and I'm very interesting, you are going to just drive people away in droves. So you're going to spend all this money to get them there, upset them, and then send them to your competitor's website. Not a fantastic strategy. Okay. So it sounds like the first conversation you had with Susie was typical. She was like, hey, I'm kind of new. My website's not doing, I'm not. You talked about it. What was the first thing you did when you, and I want to also mention something with you. Susie had mentioned that you're doing content for her. Would you talk a little bit about, because I'm assuming there's difference, again, it's not one size fits all. Susie's circumstance was hers, but I'm sure you do different things for different clients. So it seems like there's the web design, which is creating the website, the physical aspects of it, not the content. Then there's the content, which would be videos or articles or podcasts or whatever content that you deem necessary. And then the third part would be getting traffic to it. So it sounds like, I know you do all three of those. Tell me about how that looked for you in Susie's circumstance.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the reason we start with design is because in almost all cases, clients currently have a website. So they have something that's out there that's probably getting some traffic, even though they may not be getting any leads off of it now. So just changing the design and making that communicate, a little bit more about who they are. It's a little more user friendly. That in itself, it just kind of picks up the low hanging fruit. So that'll help them acquire leads, a lot quicker. And the content really plugs into part of that. I mean, part of it is the messaging, how you're communicating. A lot of times we see sites out there that really communicate, this is about us. Look how good we are. Look at how we clean, rather than really what the client is looking for. So when we go through this process, we want to understand not only, who their clients are, but also the demographics, and then some of the conversations in particular that they have with clients or potential clients, just to understand how those conversations go. And a lot of that comes back to us really writing the content and making sure that not only the design, but also the messaging really resonates with potential visitors to the website.
Yeah, and that's another thing I love is it sounds like I'm listening to myself because I'm constantly telling my clients, you've got to stop talking about yourself and how good you are and how interesting you are. They don't care. They care about themselves and their problems and how you can help them. And that's really about it. So again, a perfect example of when John and I shouldn't say work together, but when one of my clients works with John, I'm not constantly trying to redo and undo the stuff that John did. John just gets it and does it right. The other thing I love is a lot of web designers will come to you and you pay them whatever to design this beautiful website, and hopefully they do. But then they give you this bag of homework like, all right, now to get any traffic to this thing, you're going to need to be writing 6 blog articles a week, and we need this and we need that. And you're going to be tweeting and Facebooking, which is great if you are looking for a part-time job, but not fantastic if you're like, hey, man, I got a company to run. So I love that John's not one of those guys that's like, hey, I mean, obviously there's budgets, right? So that costs money. But if I just hate that. Here's this beautiful website. Now go do A, B, C, D, E, F, G to get traffic to it. And the owner becomes overwhelmed. And then nobody ever sees the beautiful website. And the money was effectively wasted because if nobody's coming, it doesn't matter if you've got the 90s website or the beautiful new website. So I love that. And I'm sure you have the option, right, John, where if I come to you and say, hey, I don't want to deal with it. Just make me the website. We'll work together, but write the content, keep the content coming. I just keep me out of it and have the phone ring. You can do that. And then if I'm like, hey, I'm on a really tight budget, you can kind of give me the tools to do it myself if I've got more time than money.
Right. Exactly. That's, I mean, a big part of a successful program in general is really having the feedback. So like you said, I mean, I hate to ask for too many things. I mean, usually in a conversation or two, we can understand the market, understand who they are, do research on ourselves, and by ourselves, and figure out a direction to take everything in. And so that's important. But also, a lot of times, people want to have some involvement. They want to grow their list. They want to send out a personalized newsletter. We have some people that say, hey, we want you to do everything. So we handle sending out a monthly newsletter, for example, or integrating, landing pages with marketing automation software, or setting up retargeting even, which is when visitors come to your site and they might not call or submit a lead. And then later on, you can basically serve ads to them over time through other sites by retargeting through Facebook or Google, for example. But I think a lot of it just depends on the client and where they are, both financially, but also how much they want to really do on their own for marketing. In some cases, I mean, people will say, "Hey, I want to be really involved." In a month, they'll even write blog articles for us, and we'll optimize those for SEO and put those up. And then, a month or two later, they're like, "Hey, why don't you just handle writing and everything? I'm just too busy right now, so we'll just take everything on."
Yeah, I think probably your best referral source is your own clients who are like, no, I'm not paying you to do that. I know how to write. And then 2 articles in, they're like, you know what? Would you just do this writing? Because it's a huge pain in the neck, and I'd really rather not do that. And I love that you also help them optimize it, right? It's one thing for me as the owner of a cleaning company who's not search engine savvy, which is fine, right? John, you probably wouldn't know much about a lot of the stuff that the owners of cleaning companies do, and it's okay that they don't know a lot about search engine optimization. So I love that even when they're writing the articles, you still, I don't want to say fix them, but you still optimize them so they're going to make a lot of sense. They're going to get the most value, because that's where I would have been before I kind of started down this more marketing things. When I had my own companies, I'm like, man, I know a lot about search engine optimization, but it changes every 2 seconds. So I don't want to have that kind of full-time job of keeping on top of what's new, right? Like if I wrote an article, I might be able to optimize it for what the search engine we're looking for 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, but we need it to work today. So I love that you've kind of got levels of, hey, if you've got more time than money, we'll give you the tools you need to do it, and then help make sure it's effective. And if and when you're like, wow, I now have more money than time and I just can't fool with it, then you can just take it off their plate altogether. So So tell me a little bit about what it takes to be a good customer, because I really want to make sure that Cleaning Nation comes to you kind of prepared with right expectations. Because, I got to imagine every project you do isn't successful, and more times than not, without getting judgy, it's because the customer either doesn't do what they need to do or has wrong expectations. So kind of tell Cleaning Nation what you would recommend them when building a website and getting traffic to it, how to be a success, what they can do.
Sure. So I guess let me talk a little bit about some of the experiences that I've had where the results definitely aren't like Susie's, where they're immediate, but it's just a long process. And that's, I think, one of the biggest issues with SEO is that people want to understand, when they'll be able to get a return on their investment. So, from the website design side of it, it usually takes us 4 to 6 weeks to get a site up and done, and then after that is obviously when we kick into high gear with the SEO. But we run into issues where some people are trying to set up, for example, a new domain name, and meaning they never have had a presence online. And in those cases, the results usually take a little bit longer because there's no history out there. In some cases where people are actually changing their name, that's a little bit easier because we can tell Google and point to, here's their old name and here's their new name, and there's a correlation there. But so just, for complete transparency, that's one of the things that makes SEO a little bit longer term process for some people. And also,
hold on, let me restate what you said. Hold on, before you go forward, let me restate it just so I make sure I got it and Clean Nation got it. What I hear you saying is Susie came to you and said, "Hey, I have 2 maids and a bucket," or shoot, I don't have it in front of me, but I've got my website. Hold on, I'm going to look it up. 2 in a bucket. Sorry, Susie. I've got 2inabucket.com. I've had it for the last 10 years. It's just not fantastic. You're saying she's going to go faster. She's going to get results quicker because Google knows her, hopefully already kind of has a file on her, so to speak. Then if I say, "Hey, I'm brand new starting, I want to be Mike's brand new cleaning company.com," it might take me a little longer than Susie. Is that a fair restatement of what you said?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, go right ahead, buddy. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I mean, that's sure. I mean, a lot of that goes back to her. I mean, even though that it's been around for a long time and she wasn't getting the results she is getting now, there was a lot of time, effort put into the site and the marketing, and that's really, all we're doing is really amplifying that previous work, but and trying to focus it really on the target market. So
okay, so just so we don't absolutely,
so that's one of the things.
Just so we don't absolutely devastate whoever's out there listening, going, "Oh man, I'm just starting. I just literally bought Mike's brand new cleaning company.com. I guess this isn't for me." Talk to that guy or gal about what their process might look like, just so they're, again, reasonable expectations, right? We don't want them to be like, "Well, you're never going to compete. Susie's always going to beat you if you're in St. Louis." That's not the truth. But you're going to, tomorrow you'll have the phone ringing. Also not the truth. Give them a fair expectation of what to, and this will also help with other SEO guys, because there's a lot of people like, "Oh, I can get you on the front page in a week." And that's a great way to know, cover up your checkbook. So go ahead, if you would, for a minute, talk to that guy, and then we can continue.
Yeah. I mean, for new people, it's really just changing the strategy around. So for people with a new domain, I would really focus more on the content side. So, I mean, putting out something that's more regular, for example, 3 blog posts a week or changes to the website every day, something like that will accelerate the process a lot quicker. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the time, or they're not investing in the budget to really produce that kind of content. So I think the strategy just kind of moves around depending on where people are in their the cycle of their website is, where it is currently.
All right, so I'm going to put words in your mouth, and you can tell me if I've absolutely missed it. What I hear you saying, and this is what I'm constantly telling people, is you don't need a bunch of money to start a cleaning company, but you better be willing to put in the time, right? You better be willing to work your tail off. And if you've got a lot of money, you can circumvent or pass a lot of the tedious time stuff that people that don't have money are going to have to go through. it seems like your web presence is a microcosm of that. If they're willing to just find the right guy, and that's why I'm so glad I've got you, John, is there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there, and you don't know that they're the wrong guy till you've invested a bunch of money and 3 or 4 or 6 or 9 months have passed and it's too late. But if they come to you going, hey, John, I just need the basics. Obviously, I can't code and I don't want to start a new website. And even if I write an article, I'm going to need your help making sure it's optimized. And I don't even know how many articles to write or what to write them on. You can kind of, on a budget, get them down that road. If there's another guy that would be me that goes, John, I don't want to fool with any of this. Here's some money. Please do whatever magic voodoo you do and make people come. You can do that. But it's unrealistic for them to go, I don't have a ton of money and I don't want to spend a lot of time. That sounds like there's the problem. Fair or not fair?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at that point, I wouldn't even suggest that they go out and do a website at all. At that point, I mean, like you said, I mean, there's really no point of having another business card out there if you're not going to hand it out to anybody. So at that point, that's all the website would be for people.
Well, and I'd rather not even have a crappy business card, right? If I honestly, some of these websites, if right. I would rather just go, we don't have a website, we do everything by word of mouth. That can be better than sending this janky old website. It's like, oh man, it's just super representative of who you are. Okay, so Cleaning Nation, please hear that.
Right.
If you don't have time, we can help you. That's fine. We can work through that. If you don't have money, we can work through that. If you have neither time nor money, the web game may not be for you. That said, tell me a little bit about, you've done a bunch for Cleaning Nation now. So that was another reason kind of when I first started referring people to you, I kind of had this vision of, I know how specific I can get. It's so funny when I'll be coaching people like, oh my gosh, have you been like spying on me outside my room? I'm like, well, I've had this conversation a couple thousand times. So I just know the specific pains and needs of cleaning companies and how I even know the specific needs and pains of cleaning company prospective customers and customers because we do all this. My hopes and dreams for you was you'd kind of get to that same thing. So when we start doing keyword research or start understanding the pain of their prospects that you touched on a little bit with Susie, hopefully you're a little farther ahead. Has that happened yet? Or tell me if I'm just dreaming.
A question would be for John, because I noticed that when my reviews grow, I grow in the SEO, and how he can like share about reviews and SEO and the website.
Love it. Totally not on my radar. Wasn't going to ask it. Good job, Susie. John, what do you got?
Yeah. And again, I mean, this is why, Susie does a great job with, it's really a collaborative effort. I mean, I can't do much on reviews. I mean, she has to have a great product, a great service, and she has to ask people for reviews. So there's a lot that I can't do to help out with that, but there is a lot that it does help with in regards to SEO. Mainly, especially now, it is on the local listings, like the Google Map listings, is one of the big ranking factors. So, that definitely does help. Facebook, Google reviews, Yelp. It all basically creates another portal of entry for customers to come to you when they're doing their research or they're doing their searches online.
So would you, again, because we were talking about what can a customer do to be effective, right? Like if you get a lump of a customer that just won't help or participate, you've got to, they better have a bunch of money and maybe some more time. But if you've got someone, Susie, that's like, no, I'm in. Are reviews a big piece of that? How much if I come to you saying, hey, John, I've got 20 good reviews now and I can get you 2 a month. How different of a result am I going to get versus the guy that's like, I don't have any, I ain't going to get any. Don't talk to me about reviews.
Well, I mean, you never know exactly how, what percentage that Google is going to take reviews into their ranking algorithm. But we do know from looking at clients across the board that, I mean, it is definitely relates to how they, how they get displayed online, but also, I mean, most of the time when you see it, there's stars by there. So it also highlights and directs people's attention to those listings when they see those stars listed up on the results from Google. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think there's a lot that I can do. If the client or, if they don't have a great product or a great service or they're not asking for reviews, we're just gonna have to work a little bit harder on our end to try to get the SEO dialed in with content, with link building, with some of these other strategies that we're doing.
Okay. So me as a coach, I would be like, quit whining, go get some dang reviews. I like that John is a kinder, gentler human being and says, well, work it out. Don't worry. We can find some other ways. And I want to give you, I'm going to pretend to be John for a second, put on my SEO genius hat. And then John, if I speak out wrong or say something wrong, you can correct me. But my understanding is, first of all, local is huge. That's one of the big things that I love. And I tell my private clients is, hey, it's a bear for me because I got to compete with the world, right? If there's some Yahoo in the UK that's like a baller builder of cleaning companies, I got to compete with him on SEO, basically globally, or search engine optimization. If I want your guys' attention to look at me as the hero, I got to compete with everybody. Susie doesn't have to worry about the amazing cleaner I'm coaching in Phoenix or St. Louis or the UK, because they're not ever going to compete, period. She literally only has to compete for the people within her trading area, which might be 40, 50 miles of her office. That's it. So local's huge. And I believe one of the best way to get locals is reviews. And I'm pretty sure as of this recording, like I said, January 2017, if you got 5 or more reviews, Google will kind of show the stars as opposed to just, how many reviews you have. So if you've got 5-star reviews, you are a world better than someone that's got 4-star, 5-star reviews, because your little reviews are going to show up. And I think it's in gold, which shows up a lot. It's the only gold thing on the page. Am I talking crazy, John, or am I pretending to be an SEO guy? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct.
Woo-hoo. All right. See, I hang out with John enough and all of a sudden I get some brains in me. Okay, let's wrap it up with, I'm going to give each of you guys, instead of the lightning round, I'm going to give you each a minute just to kind of say whatever's on your heart about business, about SEO, about whatever you want to talk about. John, we'll let you go first, and we'll let the lovely Susie have the last word. Any final thoughts or education or help that you want to get to Cleaning Nation in terms of what they should look for or expect, or anything you want to say to Cleaning Nation? Go.
All right. I think the biggest thing is that SEO isn't the same for everybody. I mean, we have strategies that are completely different for everybody. And a lot of it depends on how much time we can spend on working with them, or really where we're needed the most. So for some people, it may be just helping increase conversions. Others, it might be I need more traffic. So we just adjust, accordingly that way. But I think that's one of the biggest things, as well as just be aware of bad SEO companies out there. I was talking to one person the other day, and they're getting phone calls from someone claiming to be Google, saying that their listing is inaccurate or is not showing up online. And basically, it's a scam calling their business or emailing them saying, we can do SEO for you. So just be aware of some of those things. And really what, if you do go that route, there's probably some pretty bad harm that can happen if SEO is not done correctly. So I ran into this with another person just briefly that had used a company like that, and we're still trying to dig them out. Basically, they had built a whole bunch of bad links from sites that you probably never want to be associated with, that were pointing to them just to try to build up their links and traffic. So anyway, some of those things can be very harmful. So just be very considerate when you look for solutions, when you look for providers, when you're looking for people that can help you grow. Make sure you're asking questions that that are around and aligned with your needs as a business, and check their referrals for sure.
That's a great point. I mentioned earlier that there is the frustrating part about SEO, because it does seem so magical and mystical, is there are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there that are awful, don't know anything about SEO, but are very good salespeople. And then typically I found, and this is a backhanded compliment / insult, John, the people that are really good at SEO aren't really great at sales, right? John's not great at sales because he doesn't need to be. He's really good. So his customers are his salespeople. Again, not trying to be offensive at all, John, just, so be careful of the super good salesperson that says that doesn't mean he's automatically doesn't know what he's doing, but just be really careful. I like what John said about calling their customers, and if they won't give you customers, don't have any customers, just keep walking. And then is it too much for me to ask, or am I overstepping my bounds, John, if I say, hey, reach out to John, and if they've got someone, they can kind of say, hey, here's who I've got, here's what I'm thinking, here's what they're saying. Would you be willing to weigh in on that, or is that too much of an ask?
Sure. I mean, you know me, Mike. I'm always one to help out.
Well, you're stuck now because I asked you live without any previous warning. So yeah, if you do have an issue and you've got someone that you're not sure about,
I give you the same answer.
Yeah, I know you would, but I wouldn't have asked you that if I wasn't about 92%. But that 8% unsure was scaring me. So yeah, we'll put John's contact information here, Clean Nation. And again, the reason I have used him and continue to use him is I've not gotten any feedback from anyone that I've used other than the Susie Duncan. Everyone said he's great, he's fair, I've gotten zero bad feedback. And John, you know that because you would have heard immediately from any bad feedback from Cleaning Nation. So if you do have a company that you're thinking about working with and they sound scammy, or somebody calls you, or just something that seems fishy, or you're not sure, John's been kind enough. A, he doesn't get paid at all to come on and share all this good stuff for free. B, that's really kind of you, John, to say, hey, Clean Nation, reach out if you're not sure. I'll give you some feedback about some specific questions to ask and what to look for and not look for. So make sure you do that for John. Susie, we're going to give you the last word, young lady. Go.
Well, I would have to say that with working with John, it was part of the missing puzzle piece that has started growth in my company. Growth from being stagnant for about 3 years of stagnation, busting my butt, and being connected with Mike is part of the puzzle piece. And another part of the puzzle piece was to connect with John, have him evaluate my website that wasn't really operating for me. And he started his, the SEO for me. I have seen results, great results for myself or for my company, and also to be able to, begin the automation as well that Mike talks about. So it's kind of like all connected. It didn't happen overnight, but it did eventually. It happens. You have to stick in there. You have to, listen to good advice, and it's so important to get that good advice. And I was one of those people that was hounded by some scammers. I get phone calls all the time. And I just asked John, I go, John, who's this? And why is Google calling me? And John will go, just ignore it. It's a scam. But I'm blessed because of being able to, I hear and I listen to successful cleaning companies over the years. And, you just like a little kid, it's like, I want to be like that one day. And, with the help of John and of course, Mike and his awesome advice, I can see it happening, and down the road, I can see a lot of this happening, but with John and the SEO, it really helped me. Oh, and my website, which, it's awesome. I love it.
Susie, I'm going to blow your mind real quick, and then we're going to sign off. I guarantee you there are listeners right now, dozens, if not hundreds of listeners going, I want to be like Susie Duncan right now. So please, please, please. That's a big thing I get with coaching is $1 million guy always wants to be at 2. The 2 wants to be at 5. The guy just starting out wants his first client. The guy at 100,000 wants to be at $500,000. Guarantee you, Susie, there are people right now going, she's doing $1,000 a day. I would cut off my left arm to be able to do that. So you are already living somebody's dream, sister. And feel free to reach out both in the comment section of this podcast as well in the Facebook group. I know Susie's in there. Call her out and say, Susie, are you kidding me? You are my hero. All right, Susie, John, thank you so much for joining us. I know you guys both have a lot of stuff to do, and it was very kind of you to share your ideas, your passion, your experiences with Cleaning Nation. I appreciate you. I know they appreciate you. If you want to check out the show notes page for this and get contact information for John, for Susie, links to both of their previous podcasts, it's all at growmycleaningcompany.com on the show notes page. You'll find everything you need to grow your cleaning company. Leave your questions, your comments, your rude remarks. I will see you there.
Congratulations! You are now 16% smarter. Still can't get enough cleaning goodness? Go to www.growmycleaningcompany.com for more of the good stuff. Ever want to be rich and famous? Owners of cleaning companies as well as industry experts can apply to be featured on the show by emailing our producer Natalie at support@growmycleaningcompany.com. Until then, don't miss out on all the latest cleaning industry lovin' at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. Check it out now.